Welcome, everybody, to In the Buff. Today we've got Kyle, Scott, Cody, and John, and of course, your host, Chris.
What's with this reverent tone?
In the Buff.
Why do I feel like you're trying to be Mr. Rogers?
I do have the sweaters now, so...
Yeah, you really did look like Mr. Rogers.
Bro, you rock the style that you want to rock, you know?
What did you call it,
Dude.
Cody? His style. You had a term for it.
Oh, I can't remember right now. It's in one of the previous
Grandpa
episodes. Grandpa core. That was his. That was his fashion style.
Yes.
Yeah. Comments, huh?
We can do some comments if you guys would like to listen to some.
Sure.
I'd rather die.
It's always nice
What
to
if
have
I
comments
told
with
you
Cody.
we had some comments that weren't on Final Fantasy guides?
I'd shit in your mouth.
Okay, well,
I'd pay to see that.
I can't say that though.
I'd pay to stop watching.
Final Fantasy X Omega Ruins guide video from Sura91. For finishing, I always use Yuna Aeons, Anima, or Maga Sisters. It's really helped me through the dungeons. The one that got the Celestial weapon right now, only Aaron and Yuna.
You should get celestial weapons on all of them.
Next one, which is not
Great.
Final Fantasy related,
Thank Christ.
from In the Buff, episode 48. Our most recent episode as of this taping from longtime friend of the channel, Kyle, saying, "The more I hear of Cody's campaign, the more I am dumbfounded at the world building." Thank you.
I am really impressed.
It was
I am really impressed by the world.
fantastic to listen to that little side campaign you ran.
I'm glad you got some enjoyment out of that. It was a lot of fun to run.
Yeah. I really do. Not that I've been in all that many worlds in D&D, but yours in particular is fun to think about in regard to the world building and the people around the players rather than the players.
Yeah.
Have you guys gone into depth on the podcast about how in depth Cody's world building has been?
I have measured my cock size.
No,
Yes.
the fact that there's a Wikipedia page and we haven't.
There's a Wikipedia page?
There's a whole wiki about his world, remember?
Right.
Oh,
No.
yeah. I've got it like an internal document.
He
That's-
let me on. I actually use that now. It's a very, very useful tool.
Mm-hmm. I'd highly recommend it.
Is it World Anvil?
No, it's called
No.
Obsidian.
Oh, yeah, that's
Mhm.
right.
Plug. It's free, so plug to anybody who's like, "Hey, I want my own little internal database thing."
Links in the doobly-doo.
It takes a lot of work, but it's really good.
There's a little bit of a learning curve because you kind of got to learn the markdown coding language, but once you have that, it's got directories and hyperlinks and like embedded images and all kinds of stuff. It's
Yeah.
very robust.
I love the little graph feature.
Graphs. I don't
Yeah,
know if I've
there's-
seen those.
There's a little a node graph thing for every time you create a data point in it.
Oh, yeah, the node
it
tree.
It creates a little node,
Like a web.
and then every link within the database will then connect all the different nodes. And so, like, if you look at mine for my world building, it is an absolute mess of things just linking to each other all over the place. It's great.
It's really interesting.
That would be cool to see.
This all sounds really great. I just have a bunch of Word documents on my desktop.
Right.
Whatever works.
Yeah,
I have
however you get it done.
notebooks.
Yours sounds nicer.
It's certainly a little bit more organized.
It's a little easier to digest.
I don't know, man. Have you seen my fucking folder system?
Oh,
Looks a
something
lot bigger
very
than my house.
Next comment.
oh yeah, it's another not Final Fantasy video.
Thank Christ.
So somebody's been going back through our back catalog on the Devil Bat Double Buff Double Feature episode 6, from host of the podcast, Chris, saying,
Allegedly.
It's the sequels. They make me cry every time.
Is it?
Mhm.
I just find them so funny.
We are very funny.
Yes.
You should go watch that video, listener.
Links in the doobly-doo.
If you don't want to watch the whole video and you just want to watch the scene that Chris is crying at, we have a YouTube short. I think it's the
It's a sad
first
scene.
YouTube short on our channel. All right. Another comment on In the Buff episode 48 from D. Lee Griff. It's just shart noises.
What happened
What's that
there?
reference
A
to?
bit rude.
I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but it made me laugh.
I don't know either. What did we talk about in that?
We talked
I don't
about the
fucking
one
know.
shot.
Huh.
I
Yeah,
think
you guys-
he's just.
You guys talked about Dorful.
I think he's just embedding a little chaos into the system.
Right. Right. As long as you leave a comment, that'll get us in the algorithm. I don't give a shit what the comment is.
Yep, you
Right.
can say whatever you want.
Hey, Cody, I'm real flabbergasted by this one. How do you spell Dorful?
Dorfl.
That's what I guessed.
I added several more letters into that.
I hate that there's no E.
I thought there was going to be an A
Where?
at the beginning.
Dorfal. Oh.
Oh,
I
at the
thought it-
beginning.
DAORL. Or fuck. DAORFUL, I think is what I was thinking.
Interesting.
And I also thought there was a
Weird.
space. I don't know where I
Real-
thought the
what?
space was. I don't know
Where?
why I thought these things when I was listening to it, but just anytime you said Dorful, I was like DAOR space FUL. And I was like,
Wow.
why do I
Dorful
think
what?
that's how it's spelled?
A bit off base there. I believe Dorfl is Yiddish.
Okay. Did
I think
dwarves-
that's the etymology.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay. What does it mean?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
great.
speak Yiddish.
I believe. Let me type it into. Hold on.
Is it
It's
clay?
Yiddish for hymen. That's interesting.
Oh.
Oh,
Well,
dear. Great job, Cody.
Huh.
Well, that's a... ugh.
all the
That's
other golems in that one shot had traditional dwarf names.
So why did you call this one Dorful?
Because Dorfl was the name of the golem that I based that character on in the book Feet of Clay, which I inspired that whole one shot. So
Okay, so blame Terry Pratchett.
yes, I guess so.
Damn you, Terry.
Speaking of Terry Pratchett, next comment.
That's actually highly coincidental that the next comment is on Final Fantasy X Albed Primer's Guide video from Demigod287, timestamp of 240, bookmark for later.
Bro, it's a 10-minute video at most. This guy really
He had to
timestamped it for later.
He had to come back to it.
Hey,
He's a
thanks for
busy
the
guy.
double view.
He's a jet
Thanks
setter.
for
Yeah.
the double view on Cody's video.
Yeah. And finally, a final comment on the same video from alleged host of the alleged podcast, Chris. How do I get more warped spheres?
Shut the
I
fuck
question
up,
to
dude.
ask.
You actually did that?
Incredible.
Yes.
You actually did that. Okay.
You guys
All
seem
right.
to, this seems to be an inside joke of some sort.
Okay. All right. Two things here, Chris. You fucking retard. Warp spheres have nothing to do with Albrad primers, jackass.
That's
I know
what
you just
confused
went
me.
to our highest viewed video that was Final Fantasy and just clicked on it. You lazy piece of shit. Two, the easiest way to get them is by bribing the Master Curl. And I think it's like 300k gil. They suck to get. They're terrible to get.
Right. Right. I'm sorry to hear that, John.
Yeah, okay. Last
They're
comment.
honestly not worth it.
That was the last comment.
Thank
Awesome.
God. I just... Every time we get through the comments, I just feel like I'm less.
Mm-hmm.
There's less of me.
We could stop doing the comments.
No.
It's our show.
I'm
No
still
one's
holding out
making
hope that
us.
somebody's going to leave a comment that I give a shit about.
I
You
mean,
didn't give a shit about D. Griff's shirt noises comment?
Of course I do. He's the only one.
I miss colon sausages.
So do I.
Yeah,
I miss
whatever
him.
happened to colon sausages? He had such
I think I ate
enthusiasm.
his asshole.
Oh.
I'm like a rabid animal.
I've just been hungry lately.
I've been told that that's the fastest way to get into the good parts.
Yeah, I watched a video of a squaw attacking a penguin's asshole.
Skuas. Yeah.
Excuse me?
The penguin was alive.
Skuas
Oh
are
my God.
predatory seabirds.
And it was enjoying every moment of it. Until it didn't.
We aren't referring to an outdated term for a Native American woman.
A
No, it's
squaw?
pronounced skua.
What
They're
did
not-
you
I
say?
don't think it is pronounced skua. I've heard
It
a
is-
lot of people call it squaw.
It's,
Oh no.
it's definitely a skua.
Either way, it's a bird.
They're large
Not-
predatory seabirds.
Not
They
a
look
Native
kinda like-
American woman.
No, they look like really angry seagulls. And they're really big.
Are they like terns?
No, they're not like
No.
terns, Chris.
Oh, okay.
They're usually brown or black in color. They have very thick bills. And
Yeah,
yeah,
they do.
they just eat
And
penguins.
they devour the anuses of penguins. Okay.
Right, yeah,
got
it's
it.
the easiest way to get in.
Yeah.
So it's my corner. It's my corner.
Yeah.
And it's not about
Skuas.
penguin anus.
Oh,
That's
fantastic.
unfortunate.
It could be.
It might be because there was a lot of penguin media as children. In fact, there's one in particular that actually was kind of spooky.
Madagascar?
No. I forget the name of it, but it was like a blue penguin that gets attacked by the birds.
Happy Feet?
No, it's not Happy Feet. It's a blue penguin. It's a totally cartoon, not a CGI thing.
Oh,
Hand
okay.
drawn. Anyway, my corner is because I just honestly couldn't think of anything. I'm gonna be real.
Okay.
And the YouTube algorithm proffered to me some like 9-hour long video about childhood trauma,
Okay.
the idea of like things that cartoons, books, whatever the hell that kids read or watched, and it just like messed them up. And I didn't like the video. I stopped watching it like an hour in. It didn't grab me. Mainly because the guy doing the video, I'm sorry. If that guy who happens to see, I don't even remember the channel name. But it was a big video, and a lot of views. I just disagree. He was like saying stuff like the PlayStation boot up noise was spooky.
No.
Disagree.
Like
PlayStation boot up noise is like proto ASMR.
Yeah.
I know.
He said that, and I'm like, okay, nope.
Especially
click off.
PlayStation 2, dude.
PlayStation 1, it was startling the first time it happened, but like it wasn't scary. It was exciting.
It got me in the
Absolutely.
mood to play.
Yeah.
Listening.
And it's just
So-
like, it's very resonant, and it just fills me.
Mhm.
Are you saying things that weren't necessarily scary that really creep kids out?
That's what I wanted to go for, but we
or
can
things
just talk
that
about
weren't
whatever.
supposed to be scary.
I'll
A
tell you
great
one right
example-
now.
Huh?
You got an example. I got a good example.
Okay, you go for it. It's that's the corner. Go for it.
One of the first things that I think of, how eerie it is to play in a Minecraft setting or server all on your own.
Mm.
Really?
Really?
It started, so like, there were times where I would get home from school and I would hop on my Xbox and start playing it. And like, there would just be times where no animals were spawning, no, like, nothing was really happening. And I just realized like I was in the zone building something or clearing a forest. And then I would just kind of like realize that like, there's not really any music playing. As there's like, it's really just like
You're
quiet.
alone.
Yeah.
See, I've always enjoyed and found the Minecraft soundtrack soothing.
Mhm.
And, I didn't start playing Minecraft in a setting where it was multiplayer compatible, so it's odd to me that you say that. Do you mean like in a public server or just like by yourself?
And like the server that I had was joinable, but it was mostly on my own.
Okay, because if it was like a public server and there was nobody on it, and it was just like the remnants of some past Minecraft civilization, I could see it being real creepy.
You know what this
But
reminds me of?
I kind of
is,
disagree with that one.
It reminds me of... God damn it. I hope one of you guys know what I'm talking about. There's a game that's like a simulation of exploring a dead game.
Oh.
And the idea is you are going through these multiplayer maps that have no one on them anymore. And the game is a horror game. And it's like haunted.
Okay.
Oh.
And so you're just going through these multiplayer maps as far as I know. I've never played the game. You're going
Don't
through these
spoil anything
multiplayer
because
maps.
this sounds like a lot of fun.
And like just every once in a while spooky shit'll happen.
It sounds like the Backrooms, kinda.
A little bit.
Almost.
Like I think I also have that irrational fear too with like weirdly like Call of Duty actually. Like
Is it like
that
the
nuclear map. Like the idea that like I'm just running around on this map. Cuz I remember there were times where I would just like while I was waiting for friends to hop on, I would
Are you
just
talking
be
about the mannequins?
not necessarily the mannequins, but like there's this idea of like just like how lonely it gets.
Oh,
And so
like
I'm just kind of like
Nuketown,
killing
right?
time, throwing I'm just like throwing grenades around. But then like the thought occurred with how boring it was that I'm like, dude, what if I see somebody else running? And then I start feeling like getting this like just internalizing this feeling of like I'm not alone on this map. And like it
You
started
just
making me
psyched
feel like
yourself
somebody
out.
else was there. Yeah.
This is like 90% of video game creepypastas.
Yeah.
That is what it is. That reminds me. They finally figured out the ghost of Lockout from Halo 2.
don't
Oh,
even
I
know
totally
what the hell
forgot
you're
that
talking
existed.
So, if you guys know what this is?
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember hearing about it.
So, for those who don't have any concept of this, back during Halo 2 in the early 2000s, when it was on Xbox and playing, most of the time, like the big spin around this came about because people recorded it on a map called Lockout, and they encountered at first what they thought was another player. But they were doing just a regular game of like Slayer or something, and they saw the person they'd been playing. They were not the color that they were supposed to have been, and what ended up happening was they then checked the player roster. There was nobody on it, and they would watch. This player would go around the map. There would no animations for walking or anything like that. They tried shooting them.
Wait, I do know this.
They were invulnerable, and they would just throw throw stickies at them almost unerringly.
Right.
In ways that were just impossible to actually have managed. And so this got a lot of traction for a while, and we finally figured out that it's nothing super cool. It was just a netcode problem that happened, where if someone started loading in the game after the mission had, like, after the core of all the people for the game to get started had already started, it would fuck up the netcode, and they just wouldn't appear and function correctly in the game. We finally figured it out this year.
What does that have to do with the stickies, though?
I think it's a matter of like the latency was and connection was so bad that they would throw it and get hit, and it wouldn't happen until well after the fact, and the game had to render all of it and catch up, and that's how that would happen.
Huh.
And then
That's
it is kind of lame now that we know what it was. But that does kind of segue into mine, which I know is technically supposed to be scary, but the very first time I ever played the original Halo, the flood scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. How old
I was-
were you
yeah.
then?
I was 12. I think Halo had been out for, 9 years at that point, so it...
No,
No
that
way.
can't be
When
right.
did Halo come out?
Halo came
1
out 2001.
Yeah,
They
you would
came
have
out
been
in
like 8.
If it was...
when it came out, but you said, when did you play it at first?
I don't know the exact time frame.
This is where we find out that Kyle played it last year for the first time.
Kyle's just been faking being a Halo fan his whole life.
It would explain why he knows about this.
That makes a lot of sense, honestly, because you're the only person I know that would introduce Halo to his friends as a one-shot kill game.
Right.
You just face the game.
I ruined that
I
thing
hate
for
you.
you guys.
Hey, I disagree. I think it gave us training for when we played SWAT.
Yeah.
You're right. Sure.
I don't remember how old I was or what year it was. I don't think we had Halo 3 yet. I don't think we had an Xbox, which is why I was on just the original. And just the first the just when you get to 343 Guilty Spark and the flood infection forms come out, I was not having a good time. And when that first fucking infected elite comes around the corner, I just had a full-on panic attack and shut the game down and quit. And I didn't play it. I didn't play it for 6 months. I just I don't need this game anymore. I don't need Halo.
I had almost the exact same response the first time I played BioShock.
Yeah.
I was
I
probably
hear about this.
I was 12 at the time, and there was just something so viscerally frightening about that first splicer when you're in the bathysphere and it's talking to you and then it's trying to rip apart the bathysphere. I just shut it off right there, and I didn't play it for 6 hours.
You had way less of a streak than I did.
Actually, it was probably the next day.
So
I remember you showed that to mom and dad, and they're just like, "What's so scary about that?"
I think I discussed this on the podcast
You have,
previously.
yeah. So the kind of thing I had in mind, the only thing that even partly qualifies to what I had in mind for this that I went through was, as a kid, and I've talked about this in the podcast, the very first FPS, or first-person game period, that I played was GoldenEye. And I remember loading it up and playing it for the very first time, and I was really excited to get into it because I like James Bond. In fact, I had probably just seen the movie GoldenEye, and I remember getting it does the thing where you go into the back of James Bond's head or whatever, and as soon as I'm out of it, looking out of his eyes, I'm like, I don't like this. I don't like this. There's no disconnect. I don't like that I am James Bond and these men are shooting at me. And for about 20 minutes, I couldn't play the game. I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can turn this corner knowing that there could be a guy there shooting me. And then after that 20 minutes, I'm like, get the fuck over yourself. And I did.
That is a strangely visceral reaction for that I can't say I've ever had.
It's just that before then, the only games I had played were Pokemon stuff, Banjo-Kazooie stuff, stuff that was third person where I'm a camera looking at the character. I am not the character.
Yeah.
Right.
Weirdly enough, the first Jack game, the mongrel guys or whatever they are, actually scared the shit out of me.
Huh.
The first enemies you run into. So,
I know
as
what he's
soon as
talking
you
about.
spawn into the game, there's an island that you can go to. And the game already put me on a bad spot because I was like, oh, all right, cool, let's go. And I hopped in some water and just started going. And then a shark ate me. And I'm like, oh my god, how do I just died. And then eventually I find the boat and make my way over to the island. And just these furry guys with big mouths and bright orange eyes just are chasing me down. And I don't even know how to punch. I didn't even know this was a combat related game.
Yeah, I remember they were they were
so
a
stressful.
gorilla crossed with a fish or a frog.
Yeah, I don't even really know what they were.
In this
It's just
video
the way
I
their
was
head
watching,
was shaped.
Part of it, honestly, while I was watching it, was making me feel like, man, I must have just been either this guy is just an insane wuss, or I must have been a really just hard to rattle kid. Because he was talking about being scared of when Mario dies in Super Mario 64.
Okay.
Because something about when his death animations aren't like, oh no, game over. It's like he actually dies and that bothered him. Like you see him either fall over if he takes too much damage and he's like his eyes are X's and he's dead, or if he drowns. And I gotta be honest, that's pretty hardcore when he drowns. He like is actually grabbing his throat and shaking and dying.
I was gonna say Jack and Jack 2 had some pretty legit death animations.
Are you kidding, John? He like falls over and then Daxter does like some quippy one-liner.
That was nice. That made it better. But like when you get into a fucking car wreck and die and he just falls flat on the ground and there's like 2 seconds before that happens.
Right.
Before the Daxter bit.
I know what you're talking about now. Where you just kind of like slumps off of it.
I hear this kind of stuff and I'm like, man, I guess I was just, I don't know. I talk about, like, obviously, I just said I was scared of GoldenEye because it was for 20 minutes, I couldn't play a first-person game. I'm like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can play this game. And then I just got over it. And I got over it really fast, too. Like, once I was just like, it's a game. Just stop. Just stop, Scott. These guys aren't real. They're not going to hurt you. Like, it's not even a horror game. This isn't spooky. And I got over it. And I think I kind of carried that into, because I remember playing Turok after that. Mm-hmm. And I think it was not the first one. It was on N64, that's all I know. And it was a really shitty game, but it was just an FPS where you shoot dinosaurs and the dinosaurs sometimes shoot back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it's actually supposed to be kind of creepy, and it just wasn't anymore to me. That being said, it's not like I was unfeasible. Like, again, and we've talked about this in the podcast, the fucking demo we played for Silent Hill, whatever that game was, John and I could not do it. We were too scared to open the door and look in that hole.
Dude, it was setting us up, man.
Yeah.
It was setting us up.
I can't say, because I've definitely never played horror games. But we're not supposed to be talking about horror games.
We just talk about whatever.
There's an episode of SpongeBob.
Spooky SpongeBob
affects me.
Go for it.
Yeah. So the episode. It's supposed to be like a scary episode, but it's played for laughs, right? Sure. Sandy has in this episode, Sandy like goes on vacation, and she gets SpongeBob and Patrick to pretty much pet sit for her, and she has a caterpillar that she keeps. Right.
Okay.
And so in the night, when they leave, the caterpillar crystallizes and then awakens the butterfly. And then they come back and they let the butterfly out. And for some reason, like it's supposed to, it's just a butterfly. But then they zoom into a butterfly and show like an actual butterfly, like really close up, and they added like a weird sound effect. And just like ever since that episode, I used to not really be bothered by insects, and now I'm quite bothered by insects if they like come near me.
That is so interesting to me that you would be bothered by insects when like plants were your thing for the longest fucking time.
Fair.
Like, you built a whole ass greenhouse behind my actual house.
Wait a second.
And like,
how did they they're underwater? How did they? What?
They put it in a bubble.
She's a squirrel.
She has a air dome.
I knew that, but you said they let it out. Let it out of what?
They let it out of the air dome. They blew a bubble to keep it contained, and then it flew out in the bubble.
That's dumb. And what were you scared of exactly?
So it would zoom into like the butterfly's face with its proboscis and weird eyes.
Butterflies don't. Oh wait, butterflies do have a proboscis.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I'm thinking caterpillars don't have a proboscis. They chew on things. Like,
I'm so confused. What was scary about
this? It's mostly mouth parts of insects that scare me because of that.
Insect wise, what really fucked with me was that King Kong movie where like they go to that, I forget what it was called, but they go to the island to get him.
Yeah, Skull Island.
Yeah, the one where like you see him fighting the 3 fucking T-Rexes.
And it's so badass. It's the only good part of the whole movie.
It really is.
Yep.
But like also just like the insects that were there. And like
you see them
just like, that fucked with me so hard,
like
dude.
The leeches in the mud.
Yup.
That was bad.
Or even like the centipedes, the giant ass centipedes that were like crawling on her shoulder and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fuck that.
I think I just have...
The one giant crab claw comes out of a cave.
Mm-hmm.
I have a fairly legitimate scar tissue over my entire brain, I suppose, because, from a certain standpoint, my parents just didn't give a shit what I watched, so I would just watch whatever. Like, I remember I was definitely, I'm gonna say the earliest it could possibly have been was 4, but it could have been earlier, is that I watched Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing that and watching the men get eaten, and I'm just like, man, dinosaurs are so cool. And
were
like,
you a dinosaur kid when you were younger?
Abso-fucking-lutely, I was.
Yeah, I think all of us were, weren't we?
I was so much of a pretentious ass when I was a kid about dinosaurs. Like, I remember vividly learning about dinosaurs in 2nd grade, and my teacher pronouncing it pterodon.
Pteranodon.
And I was, Kyle, we're brothers, because no joke, she said that, and out loud in front of the class, I'm like, it's pteranodon. In the most condescending voice a 6-year-old can give someone.
And you know she's over here like, this motherfucker is over here. He can't even wipe his own fucking ass yet. He's over here fucking corrected me.
I have a weirdly similar story.
Cody, you haven't changed a bit.
Also in 2nd grade, but it was less pretentious and more just I wanted to be helpful. I believe my teacher in 2nd grade was Miss Combs.
That sounds familiar.
And Miss Combs was going through like dinosaurs. I don't know. She's probably dead now. She was real old.
That would be so great.
We were looking at different extinct species in general, not just dinosaurs. And we came to one, and Scott's a nerd. Scott knew exactly what the fuck it was. Scott saw a picture and knew what it was. And it was just like a little fun little exercise, not really a quiz or anything. And she was like having people be like, oh, yeah, what's the name of this? And I didn't get called on. And she was like, it's actually and I'm like, it's Archaeopteryx. It's Archaeopteryx, actually. That's how you pronounce it, Archaeopteryx. And she's like, thank you very much, Scott. And I'm like, hell yeah.
You guys are all like the dinosaur nerds. I was not. See, we would all be like playing tag or something in recess. And then when it went on to dinosaurs, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to go play kickball with the other kids.
I'm going to leave you all freaks to play dinosaurs.
This one is literally eating grass. I don't know what's happening.
What?
Incredible. Like cats.
Oh man.
Cats
hey, dude, did you guys hear that Garrett's having a fucking kid?
I was about to say, to loop in Garrett. Garrett and I were crazy dinosaur nerds in our class, and we were such big dinosaur nerds that in I think it might have been 4th grade, I don't remember for sure, we went out of our way. This was for nothing. No extra credit. No project was occurring that had anything to do with this. Garrett and I just wanted to fucking do it. We literally wrote a research paper about archaeology.
Cool.
Paleontology.
That is cool.
Man.
And I was so goddamn proud of that. Like, we spent days of our life on this. Actual hours researching and doing 4th grade research. And like looking at different, we would like went to the library several times during that week, and we would go through the different books. We're like, oh yeah, this is what, I don't even remember what it was about. It was just like paleontology in general and just a broad spectrum thing. And we got nothing for it, but the teacher was very impressed.
Awesome.
Anyway, yeah, he's having a kid.
Yeah,
Great.
Good for him.
he's having a little one. Man, what a guy.
Incredible.
I still listen to his song.
Really?
The single
Yeah.
song?
Yeah.
Does he what does he do? This is the Garrett podcast, by the way.
Honestly,
Oh,
yeah. Welcome to the Garrett podcast. I'll make sure to.
Maybe
text
he's
him a
colon
link.
sausages and he'll be so happy.
Oh my
that we're
god,
still
if he's
talking
colon
about him.
sausages, I will be so happy. So
Yep.
anyway, if that was the Garrett podcast, I hope everybody enjoyed that.
Yep.
Can anyone
Can we get back to
anyone
the-
think of something just that really messed with you that wasn't supposed to?
I've got some
Hmm?
Okay.
that I've thought of. So there is a kind of a cult classic movie made by, I think, John Carpenter and Stephen King. Creepshow is the name of the movie. And I think it's based on a comic book
It
series.
is. It absolutely
It
is.
is.
But I watched Creepshow at an early age.
No, to be fair, Mom made all of us watch it at that.
You know, I don't think made us is quite the correct words. We stayed.
She certainly gave us the wrong impression about what it was going to be for us being under 10.
Well, here's the thing, is for any adult, Creepshow is a little spooky, but mostly kind of campy, silly
Yeah.
horror. It doesn't take itself very seriously.
Yeah.
As an adult, you can understand that. As a small, wee little guy, less so.
Right.
And I was legitimately, I don't like saying like I was traumatized by something, but that's probably the best context I can put this into. Like, I watched the what is it? The ocean monsters where Ted Danson gets buried alive.
Mhm.
Or not buried in the sand and the tides come in, and then Leslie Nielsen gets eaten by ocean monsters, and that freaked me out. Gave me like a lasting fear of being buried in sand and drowning.
It messed with all of us. Like, there were honestly almost 2 years where I would wake up and Katie would be in the top bunk with me because she was too scared to sleep in
That's
her room by
adorable.
herself.
What really freaked me out though was, I think it's the last short in Creepshow, the crate under the box, the creature under the stairs, the crate under the box. Fuck.
That one still fucks with me. The
Is that
monkey in the
Blue
box.
Yeti guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
The goddamn monkey
know.
in that box.
I know it's silly.
It is.
But it really freaked me out as a young child.
I remember seeing Creepshow when I was like 7.
Just the image of its eyes through that little slit still fucking messes with me.
And I remember, like, my takeaway from watching it was that short. And my takeaway from it was, I want to be a Minotaur. Like, I saw it like, man, this is so fun and wacky. Like, I want to find Bigfoot in real life.
Kyle, it's interesting that you bring up the eyes
In the little
particular, because my next example also has to do with eyes in shadow.
Ooh.
This might be a reoccurring thing in my life.
You have a problem
But-
with eyes.
There is a terrible, terrible movie called Monos: The Hands of Fate.
Oh no.
I have never seen this.
It's generally regarded as one of the worst movies ever made. It is allegedly a horror movie.
Also, allegedly, one of the main cast members was like high on PCP the entire movie.
It shows.
Yeah.
It shows. You can tell. Something is not right.
He's
with
not
him.
okay. Either that or he's just an incredible actor.
But what really freaks none of the horror aspects, the actual horror in the movie freaks me out at all. But the one thing that does irrationally frighten me in this movie is there is a painting of the titular Monos and his black dog. And whatever it is about this painting just freaks me the hell out. It's not lit properly, so there's shadows in weird places, and it lingers on the painting for far too long, like 10 seconds.
I see what you mean. That painting
is it the dog
is
in particular?
fucking creepy.
I think it's the dog in particular. I've posted the image in chat so you guys can look at it. I think it's the dog. How the dog has like no features.
Oh,
it's all
this.
just like overexposed and black, but the piercing white eyes just like get to me.
There's also some like eyes.
I will keep that in mind for my Underdark campaign.
I'm starting to
So I
build some sort of profile for you, Cody, in my head, because I'm linking this back to Dog-Faced Man.
Oh, interesting.
Shit, wow.
Oh.
If you guys haven't seen that podcast, click the link here on the top right.
Episode 1.
Covering his eyes with a dog.
I think there's just something that about eyes in shadows that is very frightening to me.
Doing the Underdark is gonna fuck with you
Dude.
so bad.
There was one time that my brother was hanging out at my parents' house. I was like maybe like 11 or 12 at this moment. And he left to go home around like 9-10 o'clock at night. And then you just delete it.
I didn't want to keep looking at
Wow.
it.
You pussy.
Hardcore.
But he called the house and it was just me at the house. And he was like, "Hey, I think I left my wallet there, or it might be out in the driveway. Can you go look for it, and then I'll swing back over and get it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." He's like, "Cool, I'll be there in like a couple minutes." So I search the house and I take a flashlight out and I go out to the driveway. And I find the wallet in the driveway, but I know it's been like 5 minutes of me like looking for it. So I'm like, "Oh, he'll be back out here in a minute." So I'm not going to go in. I'm just going to wait for him. It took like another like legitimately 10 minutes. And I'm too stupid to think, this is taking too long. I'm going to go inside. I stood out there in the dark for like a solid like 10-15 minutes waiting for him. And I'm just like standing there, not thinking about anything. And then I hear like a twig snap or something. And I'm like, "Oh, there's something out there. Oh no." And like I start flashing the light out there, starting to really psych myself out. And there was a raccoon. At the time I didn't realize it was a raccoon. But I just see fucking glaring eyes looking right back
Wait,
at me.
hold on. Do you know it was a raccoon?
Eventually I realized when it started to walk away it was, yeah. Why?
I'm just saying, like, maybe it wasn't.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There were other eyes that I saw. Don't know what they were. But that was the first thing I saw was a raccoon.
Probably
Satan.
more raccoons.
No, it was
Probably
Satan,
more
actually.
raccoons.
That reminds me
I
of
know-
something that happened to me as a child all of a sudden.
Was it raccoon based?
I don't know what it was. I
It's probably
didn't.
snipe.
I never saw whatever it was. It was 1 p.m, so like super bright. We were, for whatever reason, Cody, Katie, and I decided to go out and play hide and seek.
Okay.
And I believe Katie was hiding, or Katie was seeking, and Cody and I were to go hide. And my choice was to go run and hide in the cornfield. And I went far enough back that I knew she wouldn't be able to make me out. Got down real low, and I crouched down to wait, because I can just kind of barely see where she's coming from, and I was going to track her. And when she came up to the cornfield to look for us, I was going to run out and run to get to the base.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even make it halfway when legit right behind me, I hear this really deep and like almost aggressive growl come from behind me. And I have no idea what it was, because like I know what raccoons sound like, I know what skunks sound like, I know what opossums sound like. None of them would be out right now. I thought it might have been a dog or something. But whatever it was big and it was loud. And I fucking bolted in a way that I never have before. I was like, maybe
Kyle bolts out
8.
and a fucking raccoon is chasing him.
Nothing chased me out. And I went back and actually tried to look into the corn to see what it was, and there was nothing there. So I have no idea, and it still bothers me a little bit to this day that there was something there.
There's probably a Black Panther.
Yeah.
I don't know why the Panthers got to be black.
There have been a lot of rumors about escaped panthers living in Southwest Ohio from like animal sanctuaries.
Dude, I forgot about that.
Those have been around for decades.
I definitely saw one when I was younger.
Huh.
Walking into a cornfield. Just like a glimpse. Granted, I was very small, very young. It might have just been a black house cat. But the scale might have been off. But I am certain that it was a panther.
I have a similar story. We used to have to drive into on 75 into Dayton to pick up my dad from work. I was 13 or 14, and no one, my mom, my sister, and my dad never believed me, but I know what I saw, and it's not even like supernatural, it's just unlikely. Just on the side of the road of the highway, behind a fence, there was straight up just a mountain lion.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
And none of them believed me.
I definitely believe there's mountain lions in Ohio somewhere.
Yeah, I can see it.
I'd imagine probably over to the southeast, nearer to Appalachia.
Definitely. If you're gonna find one, that's where I'd bet.
That's
your guys' basement scared the shit out of me.
It's still pretty spooky down here, not gonna lie.
Like, I loved playing our little Eagle in the Dark or fucking whatever.
Just hide and seek, but it's dark.
Like, I love spending time with my friends. I loved playing games with them. I mean, Katie was a fucking... She hurt me a lot. But Katie was out for fucking blood, and I don't know why she targeted me. But,
you're just asking for it.
Dude, like, there's something about turning the corner around your guys' room, and I know there's a little, like, closet to the left against the end of the fucking, end of the, like, corridor.
Under the stairs.
Yeah. But, man, it's just like, I turn and see that area, and it's just pitch black, and I'm like, well, if I go here, I'm gonna die. But they won't find me.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I fucked with people so bad by hiding behind the shelves there, or right next to the fridge, or on top of the fridge. And people hated it when I did that. There was one instance where I made like noises that I was going back there, and then I scooched out to underneath a table and just pretended to be a box. And I don't remember who it was, but I grabbed someone's ankle when they walked by.
Me.
I could not do that.
Chris, I'm surprised that you haven't just lit up this podcast. I was expecting you to be like, I have like 600 stories.
Well, like, the thing is, though, I'm terrified of everything, but not everything I'm terrified, like the whole dark thing, right? I don't have a memory that says, this is why I'm scared of the dark. But I know it has something to do with something coming out of the blackness. Right. Because...
What?
I recently got promoted at work, right?
Okay.
Congratulations.
And so now I'm a nighttime manager, so I have to close the store. So I have to turn off all the lights and make sure there are no customers left in the store.
Yep.
So I turned off all the lights and all the customers out, but I checked the bathrooms one last time. And I'm just staring into the bathroom into pure darkness.
Yeah, that's never fun.
And in my head, I'm just like, there's someone in there,
Dude.
and they're gonna jump at you right now.
Then
I just bolted, and I'm like, that Chris, that's irrational. That's not gonna happen. But I don't know where that comes from.
Something that helped me, because there were times where I had to close my grocery store.
Get a gun?
No, I mean,
that's the American way.
But something that helped me was I would usually call my dad because he was an over-the-road driver at the time, so he'd be driving his semi-truck. And I would call him while I'm doing all the checks, just so I had somebody to talk to. But that's what kind of would help me close the store.
You guys are making me feel like the weird one.
I remember one other thing, Chris, that's similar to this. At our house, we had a relatively long gravel driveway, and our job for our chores is at like Wednesday night, we had to take the trash down to the end of the driveway so that it could get picked up. The end of our driveway immediately deads into the road. To the right is essentially cornfield. Immediately in front of you is a small little forested area separating us from a cow paddock. And to the left is more trees and the ponds. So you're kind of really fenced in. And I just remember specifically this one instance in one night. I took the trash cans down, did not have a good time doing it, didn't have a flashlight with me or anything. It was like 11 o'clock at night. There was no moon. There was no stars. It was overcast, and I couldn't see shit. And I was like 13, 14, something like that. And I get them down, and the trash cans are really loud, and I start to walk back, and I hear a twig snap behind me. And I was already on edge, and I swear to you, I made it from the bottom of the driveway to the steps in front of the house in like 2 seconds. My man became Usain Bolt. I became Usain Bolt for 2 seconds of my life. I was like, I am terrified, but I am so impressed. That was the fastest I've ever run in my life.
Mm-hmm. Kyle hears that and just, whoa, and like his head goes back. You know, it's weird, Kyle. I know you don't do well with spooky stuff, but I can't help but, for some reason, my perception of you in my head is the total opposite for some reason.
So yeah. I'm in this weird spot where some things really bother me. A lot of other things really don't. Like, I don't have a problem with jump scares for the most part. They get me a little bit, but I'm not super concerned about them. It's like, I'm not necessarily afraid of the dark, but like Chris, my mind loves to run to things that definitely aren't there. Like, just going out to my car to go get water for the dogs, I'm thinking there's going to be some giant chupacabra that I have to beat to the car. That's just going to come sprinting out of the dark, and I have no idea where this comes from.
You are so similar to Chris. Speaking of jump scares, I'm so desensitized to jump scares now. When I was a kid, like, when I first got access to the internet, it was almost like when I got access to YouTube, for example. I didn't believe how easy it was. I thought there was like a catch. And so when there wasn't a catch, like, how is this free? How is it I can just look at all this? I can listen to all the music I want for free? I can like watch every video that I want for free? What's the catch? And then there wasn't
jump scare. Jump scares at the end.
Well, it was like that, but I was the guy who's like, real footage of ghosts. And I would just watch the ghost footage, and it would be a jump scare. I am so desensitized. I'm so over all the jump scares. Like, the first time I got jump scared was the stupid maze thing.
What?
You have to solve a maze. It's a flash game where you have to solve a maze, and then while you're in the middle of the maze, the exorcist lady pops up. Or some other spooky image.
I vaguely remember this.
I just got a great image of a young Scott watching all these videos on YouTube and getting invested in it, and then like the jump scare happens and he's like, damn it, another fake ghost video.
That's quite literally what happened.
Oh my god.
And that I blame that era of my life for me losing faith in reality. Or in the reality of the paranormal, I should say.
A little bit of a slip there.
Because, you know, I remember being like, wow, this untapped potential. Everyone around the world can post whatever they record here, and I can watch it. Someone in China can post whatever, record whatever. Everybody's got a phone, and just post it so easily on YouTube. How could I not find a ghost find here? It's like real Bigfoot, real ghost, real dragon, and all of it's bullshit.
Yep. That's been the thing that really got me on as well. Is
and I blame YouTube for destroying my childhood.
I mean, in the era of fucking smartphones with incredible cameras and YouTube, the fact that we haven't found video footage, like high quality video footage of literally anything, and it's all the sightings have just like nosedived. Just like, okay, this is people were just high or had no idea what they were seeing out in the dark.
At least with ghosts,
40 years ago.
Like, it's baked into the phenomena that it could just be a perception thing. It could be a personal experience that people have. And I'm willing to accept that. I'm willing to accept that all ghosts that anyone have ever seen have just been ghosts that they have seen. And that's as far as it goes.
Oh, that reminds me. There is a known physical phenomenon that could easily be attributing to this. It is like, I don't know exactly what it's referred to as, but it is like the ghost tone, and it is an audible frequency at like
infrasound.
It's not quite infrasound, but it's very close to it.
Right.
It's like 82.6 hertz or something. It's very low frequency. It's just kind of like a almost low droning that you can't even really hear. But the thing about it is, depending on who you are, and you can adjust it up and down depending on what you need, it will cause your eyes to vibrate in your head and cause visual hallucinations. And so I think it can just occur naturally in the world in different places. The wind through certain valleys can cause it, or sound given off by the different kinds of degrading, structures could, in theory, produce this kind of audible tone. And it really causes severe paranoia because of this phenomena of it basically vibrating your eyes and making you see things. So I could easily see like huge sections of ghost stories are just that. And if you actually tested for that, you'd find, oh, hey, what's this sound that we're picking up?
So you went with a more physicalized aspect of it, or I was going like more
psychological,
metaphysical. Like the idea that
a ghost would only appear to you.
Yeah, exactly. It is personal to you. It is appearing to you. It is actually there.
Ghost.
Blah blah blah. But there, on that note, there's only so much walking that the idea that Bigfoot bury their dead can take.
Right.
There's just no Bigfoot, guys. It's not even that crazy to think that there's a great ape in North America.
I mean, but most of the
just no Bigfoot, guys.
I mean, I've seen a bear, like just a black bear or a brown bear, walking on its hind legs, and I'm like, oh, if I was in the woods, that would be Bigfoot if I saw it, because I wouldn't know what the fuck it is.
I don't know, man. I just don't know.
Think about it, like 100 feet away through the trees, and you just see a black bear walking on its hind legs.
Well, the problem is that, like, when I imagine Bigfoot, I'm imagining the profile he cuts. I'm like two distinctly not bare legs, two distinctly not bare arms.
But I'm saying through the distance, like at a distance in the woods with a lot of stuff obstructing, I could easily see that silhouette being so broken that you just put the two and two together because you're like, well, I don't know anything else that walks upright.
I guess.
Also, I love fucking Hedberg's take on Bigfoot.
Who?
I think it's Chris Hedberg, the comedian. Mitch Hedberg.
Mitch Hedberg.
He just had a joke about Bigfoot. I love his take on Bigfoot. Is like, I think Bigfoot's real, and I don't think people just have bad cameras. I think Bigfoot's just blurry.
Right.
There's just a big out-of-focus monster running around in the mountains.
There's straight up gonna be people who are like, oh, that's interesting. Like, when they hear that.
Yeah, I know there's gonna be people who go, that's why all the pictures suck. It's like there's not a fucking blurry monster.
He emits some sort of interference. He isn't blurry, but he emits like some sort of radiation that makes the camera equipment bad.
I like the joke that Bigfoot is a cover-up that men who want to sleep with other men outside of their wives knowing Hey, honey, me and the boys are gonna go hunt for Bigfoot this weekend.
Well, I mean, isn't that why we're all going ghost hunting?
Oh my god. I mean,
Well,
like,
yes.
thank God John is here. Thank God John is here to just land it in the harbor, because what in the fuck was that, Chris? You're on a
Why
podcast.
Bigfoot gotta be gay?
He's not gay.
You're on a podcast, dude, and we just, like, sat here in silence listening to you crash a plane.
It's what I'm good at, frankly.
Oh. Anyways, now that that plane is safely landed, Chris, are you ready for the month of October?
I'm so
No.
happy.
Well, I am, but no.
Are you actually?
I'm still upset that I can't get that flashlight.
Wait, what are we talking about?
We don't need a
There-
flashlight. We have IR cameras. The toys arrived.
Oh, no,
The toys arrived, and we played with them, and they're awesome.
They are amazing.
I just wanted to get that 1,000 lumen flashlight, but it's
Just
like
make it
600.
daytime.
Yeah, it's
can't.
you just turn it on and it becomes day. And unfortunately, like, it's $600. I don't have that kind of money to spend on a flashlight. I totally would if I had the money. I'd immediately buy it.
I don't know if I would.
I don't know.
So much money to spend on a flashlight and then be like, well,
I'd give it
When
to
When can
Kate.
you use
Honest-
it? When could you
I don't-
use it and not
honestly,
cause
I'd
a political
probably-
incident?
I don't care. If I cause a political incident because of a flashlight, I think it's deserved.
This actually reminds me. Have you guys heard that this isn't real at all? It's just actually a really cool story, I feel.
Hmm.
God, I can't remember the name of it. It was like Project like Sundown, or it's some like cryptic name like that. The idea is it's a conspiracy theory where, back in, I don't know, several years ago, there was some experiment where they were trying to, power the sun in the palm of my hands, but in real life.
okay.
And they
Fusion.
ignited a small fusion reactor above the ocean so that they could dip it in the ocean if it were to go critical.
Oh, I do remember hearing about this.
This isn't real at all. But it's a cool story. The idea of the story, the conspiracy is that they made a sun, it worked, and it was so bright that there's this phenomena called vertical migration in the ocean. And vertical migration is, as the sun goes down, the prey animals will go lower, and so the predators follow them. As the sun comes up, they go higher, and the predators follow them. So basically, small fish go up when the sun is bright, big fish go up with them. And so if you make a powerful, that's something they do in real life to catch fish. You'll shine a flashlight at the ocean, and the fish will just come up. So the idea of the conspiracy is they created a sun, and it was such a bright source of light that something from beneath the waves that they didn't expect vertically migrated all the way up.
That's 2 layers of
Hell
bullshit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I could buy one layer.
But that is a movie I would
two?
watch the fuck out of.
Isn't that essentially just what Meg was, but without the nuclear fusion?
I don't know, I never watched it.
It's. I read the book. That's essentially what it was.
I actually did read the book. I think you pushed me onto the book.
The book was pretty decent.
It was okay. I liked the part where the mama shark ate her babies.
Jesus Christ.
She also ate her husband.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because there's not a lot of food at the
They're
bottom of
just
the Marianas
hungry
Trench.
animals, you know?
Okay.
And
Loveless marriage.
Yeah.
the fucking the way it worked was he was attacking the sub, and they killed it. And so they started raising the sub up because it was attached to a line.
Like, yeah, it was like hooked onto the sub through it's attacking it.
Yeah, and so they killed it, and it just kind of like locked on, its jaws locked onto it, so they're just like, just raise us up. And the female would then just basically like, oh, mate's dead, I'm gonna eat him, because why not? It's free food. And because they were warm-bodied, at the very least, the river of blood that he was, as it was exsanguinating from being eaten, is what kept the female from freezing to death as they raised.
I believe
up.
in the book, the idea was that it was at like the bottom of the Marianas Trench, or maybe just some other deep trench. And for whatever reason, there was a pocket of like warm water for some reason.
Like, probably like geothermal.
Yeah, some shit like that just kept the Megs alive. Anyway, it was a bit dumb, actually. That's kind of dumb.
It was an incredibly dumb premise. It was a decently written book.
Yeah, it was fine. I enjoyed it. It wasn't scary. It wasn't scary in the same way that Jaws, the book, wasn't scary to me. I honestly fucking hated that book. I thought it was boring as shit. Movie's great.
There's several books where like they got made into like classic films, and then you go read the book because you're like, oh, it was a book first. That's cool. And you read the book, and you're like, I see why people talk about only the movie.
Yeah.
Jaws is certainly one of those. 20,000 Leagues is definitely one of those. God, I hated that book so much.
You didn't like 20,000 Leagues?
No, that was a terrible book.
All right.
Stuff happened once every like 6 chapters, and the entire rest of the of the other 5 chapters is just Latin names for fish.
Yeah, but it feels like you're going through the ocean.
So I need to read this
book.
book.
But as a 12-year-old, I don't want to read Latin names for fish for like 4 pages straight. And then he talks about dinner.
You had me at Latin names.
It does sound a lot like me complaining about Dune. When you get to like book, God, I don't know, like 3 or 4 of Dune, it's just like house, whatever the fuck of who the hell cares. And I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about all these people. You're just throwing name salad at me. I don't care that this boy's orgasms are so powerful that he can make the witches cream in their pants or whatever. I don't give a shit.
Is Dune Game of Thrones in space?
I don't
It's
think
kind of the
so.
other way around, and not really.
Is Game of Thrones fantasy Dune?
No.
I've never read Game of Thrones, and I've only gotten to like book 3 or 4 of Dune.
No, I don't think so, Chris. Also, didn't Frank Herbert like die after book 2?
I don't know.
I think he got like 5 or 6 in.
Because I know there was a huge quality drop when he died, and they had to
his son
recreate
started
it
writing the
notes.
books after that.
I know that is very divisive on the Dune fan base.
I know that my opinion
whether or not
on Dune is certainly against my perception of everyone else's opinion on Dune. Every time anyone brings up Dune, I feel like it's like, oh, it's the most important book ever written. And meanwhile, I'm just like, I think this is absolute dog shit.
Jess read it. She said it was okay.
But I digress.
You guys excited for the movie?
No.
It's okay.
I do like... I never know how to pronounce his name, but he's a good
Timothy
director.
Chalamet?
No,
the director, not the...
Oh.
Denis Villeneuve?
Denis Villeneuve? I don't know. He's a great director. I really like Blade Runner 2049. And that's just like from a style standpoint. Just I like the way the movie looks, and I like the way the movie is shot. It's just beautiful to watch. And I think I watched the first Dune movie, and I feel the same way about it. But I just don't...
cinnamon rolls.
Cinnamon rolls. The cinnamon rolls in the movie is pretty strong.
Cinnamon rolls in Dune.
But I just don't give a shit about the story. I don't care that the fat man's turned into a worm. I don't know. I feel nothing about it.
Frank Herbert wrote the first 6 books.
Thank you, Chris.
That's what the host of the podcast needs to do, is fact check us.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Johnny on the spot with the facts.
Well, we've kind of drifted away from the corner, and we're pretty deep.
Well, I have more to say.
Okay, yeah, let's hear Chris's innermost fears.
Yeah.
I would. But we're not talking about real trauma. We're talking about media.
I mean, you can talk about whatever. Another one that I wanted to bring up that is definitely supposed to scare you. It's kind of like a prank, I feel. I feel like the whole series of books is a prank on all children. Scary stories to tell in the dark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The stories themselves are mid. Some of them are memorable and I liked them. But man, the fucking illustration. That's just peak.
I'm gonna have to look this up real quick.
Peak as in scary?
Scott, as a man, adore them.
Oh, fuck that picture. I had nightmares about that picture.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some
what
of these are
picture?
really fucked.
I remember thinking about the one of there's a guy who's like strung up like a scarecrow.
Yep. Doing
Uh,
the splits.
There's one where like there's spiders crawling out of a girl's face.
I legit had, like, if you just Google's scary stories tell in the dark book, the very first one that's like on Amazon, just that amorphous lady on the cover. I have legit had a fucking nightmare in the last year about that thing in my room. That one fucking bothers me.
I know what poster I'm getting Kyle for Christmas.
Fuck you, I will burn it.
If you genuinely give me a poster of, God, I wish I knew his name. We could easily look it up. I wish I knew it off the top of my head, though. The illustrator. I would
the fruit
genuinely
stuff?
put up an image in my room of him.
Oh.
Of an
Not-
illustration of his.
Not the pictures of fruit.
Incredible.
Okay.
Courage the Cowardly Dog was scary.
That apparently did
Yeah.
bother a lot of people. I thought it was always fun. I don't know why. It never
I
bothered
thought it was
me.
boring.
Everybody talks about the Mummy episode as being extremely frightening, and I don't get it.
I disagree. I disagree. That
Is
one
it the
was
slab
not that
one?
scary.
The slab.
Yeah.
I don't know. Another one that people talk about is I don't remember his name, but he's just like a creepy looking dude who likes hair.
Mm.
You'd know him if you saw him. God damn it. I don't know his name. I didn't really watch Courage. It's one of the few episodes I watched, and I know I've seen people talking about him being creepy. It's like Freddy Freaker or something?
The only bad in Courage that I ever really had a problem with was the cat.
Not the fox.
I don't think it was a fox. No, the cat that walked upright. Remember that one? That's the
Oh,
only one
yeah.
that bothered me, and I don't know why that one bothered me.
Oh, man. I forgot what this guy looked like, Scott.
The creepy guy that I was mentioning?
Yeah.
What does he look? Is that his name, Freddy Freaker?
I'm trying to find it.
Wait, is that the
Freaky
naughty
Fred.
guy?
Well, I was close.
Okay.
That's actually what it's called.
I was close.
Freaky Fred.
Is that the naughty guy?
I don't know.
I don't.
I just
know.
remember he has something to do with hair. He's like he does something
Yeah.
weird with hair.
I feel a little bit naughty. And then he shaves somebody.
He first realized his compulsion when he was given a hamster as a pet. He
Yep.
cut all the fur, all his fur off.
That's him. Yep.
That's incredible.
Also, there's like one CG monstrosity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
the
that-
slab one.
No,
Yeah,
not the
that's
slab one. This is a different one where he's like,
Oh, is it the moon?
I
baby?
don't. It's some sort of
face?
baby looking monster thing.
Yeah, it's baby moon.
It's
face
gross.
thing.
Teletubbies
you know what?
made me a little uneasy.
You know what else was gross? The one where Eustace's foot fungus becomes
Oh, yeah.
sentient.
Yeah.
That one kind of freaked me
see?
out.
Dude, that family did not deserve Courage as a fucking dog. Muriel should have died a long time ago.
Oh yeah, episode 14, the clutching foot.
Yeah. Became like a Chicago gangster.
I have
some
no
reason.
idea what you guys are talking about. If we have to talk about cartoons that might have done something to me, I guess there's just, like I've been racking
Teen
my
Titans
brain
did something to me.
since I decided this was going to be my corner, and I just can't think of anything. When I look up the stuff that people also got spooked about, I'm just like, I thought it was great. I thought this was fun and great. People talk about Invader Zim a lot. Like, I
Really?
just disagree so much.
I loved everything about Invader Zim.
I disagree
You
so
You know what?
heavily
Actually,
that
I
it's
can't
spooky.
say anything. I didn't start watching it until I was older, so I guess I can't really count that.
Episode of Invader Zim that was weird, but it didn't freak me out.
Was it the one where he steals all the organs?
Yeah, but it was
It's
that one.
always that one. I don't know.
Do I have anything else that would have messed with me?
Organs are pretty cool. I'd probably take some if I could.
Organs are pretty cool.
You know, I'm thinking about like animes where something bothered me.
Anime.
And weirdly, so one that's popping in my head is actually Dragon Ball Z in the Buu saga. And also in the Cell saga. The Cell saga one didn't really bother me as much because I knew what they were going for. It was when he was trying to throw up Android 18.
Mm. Hot stuff.
That whole sequence where it just lasted a while made me uneasy. But with Gotenks fighting Boo, and he did like the ghost thing, and it was funny because like he told them all to go get him, and they like circled around a little spot and were like, wow, this is a really interesting little thing. And it was supposed to be funny. Boo comes up and he's like, oh, what are you guys looking at? And then they all just like jumped on him and exploded. And there was one ghost left. And Boo was just this mangled mess and he couldn't move. And Gotenks just like, all right, now go fly down his throat. And I'm like, what's happening?
Oh dear.
I didn't
But
even
that wasn't
consider
really scary.
anime.
That just made me uneasy.
What's an anime that might have messed me up as a kid?
If we're talking about anime, this was intended to be creepy, but when Ed brings back his mother in Full Metal Alchemist,
Yeah, hell yeah.
and like
Mhm.
just body horror mother,
That
That's
was
just-
fucked.
yeah, that image is not cool.
Full Metal Alchemist has a shitload of just Brother Ed. Like,
Edward.
that's fucked up.
I was gonna say this is your pass to do it because it's a very fitting moment to do it.
Oh, that actually just reminded me.
Edward.
In 10 years, people who are kids now are going to grow up and be like, man, death in Puss in Boots, that messed me up as a kid. And I fully agree. I think it didn't mess me up, but there are some actually very striking things that he does in that movie that are pretty fucked, like in the best possible way coming from me. I really like that movie. People treat it like it's a goddamn masterpiece, and I don't really get that, but it's good. It is good. Solid 8.5 out of 10.
Oh, the cat from Alice in Wonderland really fucked with me too.
The smiling guy?
Oh, the original
Yeah.
Cheshire Cat. Yeah, I can see that. I think he was supposed to be off-putting though.
Yeah.
Like everything there was, but like, yeah, that version definitely was a bit of an issue.
I can't even imagine. I was old by the time this came out. I probably was like 48, 49. But when the live action remake of the Alice in Wonderland movies happened, I remember seeing Helena Bonham Carter's face on the Queen and being like, "That's wrong. That's not right."
Her head is significantly larger than it has any right to be, which is probably part of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's supposed to be
I
kind of
think-
off-putting from that.
I think I'm gonna go with a more recent example too. MODOK from the newest Ant-Man movie. That,
Hey,
I just don't like it.
He's one of our greatest. He's an Avenger.
He is an Avenger, honorary Avenger. He helped
He's
kill Kang,
disgusting.
Is there anything outside of that has bothered you here recently?
No.
No? Okay, kind of figured.
I don't know.
I mean, for me, just if it's not a horror movie, it's got to try real hard.
Right.
There was a music video that I saw where somebody just started coughing up blood. And I was like, nope, turn that off.
Oh dear.
Oh, wait,
That seems
actually,
like
you
that
just
would-
gave me a memory, Chris. I was really young, and I must have just seen a music video of, I think it was Marilyn Manson, and it was like the first time I'd ever seen Marilyn Manson, and obviously it's supposed to be creepy, but like, I just remember seeing him and being like, I don't like that. I don't like how weird that is. And now look where I am.
I mean,
Look at you now.
Calling Marilyn Manson a that?
I just meant in
Oh,
Okay.
dude, Gold Dust bothered me.
okay,
For
Gold Dust,
wrestling?
sure, yeah.
What's up with him?
what?
And there was the guy who
WWE?
ate worms,
Okay.
but he was supposed to try to be off-putting. I can't remember his name.
No idea. We're just kind of like puttering along at the end here. Do you guys want to wrap up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
guess.
If you
Well,
don't mind.
That was a pretty weak
Sure, go
corner.
ahead.
Scott, you
Yeah, it's
fucking
okay.
retard.
We had some
Um,
fun conversations in there.
You know, this was one of the least prepared corners I've ever had. Definitely not the least, because the least was the one that I did when we turned my corner into
Yeah.
a project that we haven't worked on since
Right.
then. But you know, I'm feeling like a surge of motivation. Just the problem is the will is there, but the body can't keep up. And by that I mean I don't have the equipment with which to do dick. So the will is there. I want to accomplish things by the end of the year, but then my computer's just like, dude, no, you can't. What can you do? What can you possibly do? And I'm like, I'm going to go hunt ghosts.
Dude, I am so excited for that.
I'm excited for
And Chris-
October in general.
Chris, are you excited to stream scary games again?
At some point.
Goodbye, everybody.
Okay.
Wow. Hardcore.